Thank you. Well, thank you. It's great to be here. I was in town earlier this morning, actually, over at the university. The University of Florida is now the 5th highest rated public university in the country. Pretty good. Now, if you can only cap the week off by beating Alabama this Sunday, then everything would be good in the world. But we'll see. That's a tall order. I want to thank Attorney General Moody, Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Petronis, Congresswoman Kat Kamak, Senator Keith Perry, and Representatives Clemens and Brannon for being here. We also have a number of folks joining us today, folks who are work for the city of Gainesville as well as Orange County in Central Florida. We have Darius Friend, city of Gainesville. Christine Dam, city of Gainesville. Jonathan Sissio, Gainesville Fire Rescue. Who I happened to meet a couple months ago when folks from this area were down there responding to the Surfside Tower collapse. And you had guys from this area down there doing great work, dangerous work. And then Maria Bernard, a firefighter from Orange County Fire Rescue. So I want to thank them. We're here today to make it very clear that we are going to stand for the men and women who are serving us. We are going to protect Florida jobs. We are not going to let people be fired because of a vaccine mandate. And you'll hear from some of the folks here, but you have people who've worked for police, who've worked for fire. They've worked the whole time. While a lot of these politicians are on Zoom and not going out or doing anything, these folks were there protecting us day in and day out. And so you don't just cast aside people who've been serving faithfully over this issue, over what's basically a personal choice on their individual health. And so we cannot let these folks be cast aside. We cannot allow their jobs to be destroyed, and their families and livelihoods potentially to be destroyed as well. And we've seen places like City of Gainesville, some other places around the state that have been said, we are going to fire you unless you take a vaccine. And these first responders in particular have been exposed to all kinds of, many of them have already had COVID. Okay, let's just be honest. They have had COVID, they've recovered, and most of them, well, the ones that have recovered, have very strong immunity. That's very from every study that's been done. State of Florida legislative session requiring proof of vaccination to just do normal vaccine supply and agency forces as a condition to employment, that violates Florida law. And you will face a $1,000 fine every single violation. Look at an Alachua County. I mean, that's millions of dollars potentially in fines. Many more than that. At the end of the day, look, we did a lot in Florida to distribute access. And in December, when the Pfizer and all this stuff came out, I said we would work very hard. We'd prioritize our seniors, that we'd make it available for all, but mandatory for none. And that's been the policy that we've had from the beginning. And so I think it's an important issue with these mandates, and we're going to hear from some folks, and then I'll also talk about the Biden mandate as well, which is even more problematic. But you know, it raises important questions. I think, or even go beyond this. If you can have people wear these uniforms in police and fire, and obviously there's other very important jobs that folks are here doing, and they're always the ones on the front lines, they're always the ones that have to sacrifice, and you just throw them out like they're chopped liver, that is just fundamentally wrong, okay? And we're not going to let that happen. We're going to protect these jobs. We're going to protect these people's families. We're going to protect their livelihoods. And Ashley Moody is going to speak in a minute, but she filed an amicus brief in support of the employees who are seeking legal protection against the mandates that have come down from the city. And then, of course, the state government, you know, we will certainly move to impose the fines as the law requires when we see people that are denied access like this. So we have folks here who are being put in a very difficult situation. And I'd also point out, you know, you go months, everyone admitted it would be wrong to fire someone over this. Like, nobody was saying that this would be something that was worst. Everyone agreed, from Fauci on down, that this is something that should be provided, but it should ultimately be someone's individual choice in consultation with their physician. So, in this situation, we're going to have thousands and thousands of people could be losing their jobs, not because they haven't performed well. In fact, many of them perform perfectly, but simply because of a very intrusive and I think illegal policy that's being imposed in different parts of the state and is now attempted to be imposed across the United States. So we have Dara's friend here. He's eligible to retire in 1.5 years. Now he's facing termination. He could lose his pension, but so he's been willing to stand up, and so here's Darius.
Thank you. So I don't have a speech, and forgive me for sweating. I was out there on the road trying to get all you great people in here to see the governor, so thank you for coming out today. Governor, since 1999, 1.5 out from retirement, and it's not about the vaccine, mandatory vaccination. To tell what goes on French fries, but that. So there are people out there who choose to eat non-GMO, or they are vegetarian. They don't want to eat grown with. Force those people to eat more vegetables that were grown or herbicides. Use your RNA. That's a problem. So I'm here. We don't want to have our freedom and liberty. The vaccine, they're taking freedom and liberty little by little. They're using the vaccine for cover. Last year they took away. They are not defending our freedom, and take us to the next day. And thank you, Governor.
Dam has worked for the last 10 years. She's in the United States Marine Corps. She has, and she's in a position now, you know, she will potentially based on. So, Christine.
Thank you, sir. Household. My elderly, we have 4. Mother last year, not to COVID. Degree. My husband is a Gator. The city of Gainesville for the past 10 years. Citizens of the city of Gainesville and residents of the state of Florida should not be given mandates which require them to either lose their job or their freedom to make their own informed decisions. I do not believe it is if the citizen next to you is or is not vaccinated. The citizen, city of Gainesville, do not. Of the city employees do not state my business. Every person I know who applies for medical exemption has said that if it is morally okay, if it is voluntary. It's a far cry from demanding every Catholic vaccine, as I am has never required any proof of those medical procedures to be kept on file, to be offered up to see what your vaccination status is. Floridians have the right to autonomy of their body, the Constitution. My body, choice. Nothing should require me or share what that my employer or with my fellow coworkers unless I choose to. My health status does include my children. If I am sick, they suffer. If I'm disabled, they suffer. Job, who's paying my rent? My husband needs a healthy partner to help raise. My father needs a daughter willing to help him as his final chapters of life. My body, I am the only adult female who's able to be with my mother who lived with us for their entire life. I will not put my children through the possibility of losing another maternal figure in their lives. I love my children far too much. My family means everything to me. My choice. City workers show up to help the citizens of Gainesville when they are in most need, regardless of the color of their skin or their religion or their socioeconomic status or sexual orientation or vaccination status. If you need help, the people employed by the city of Gainesville will help you, as they always have. We are smart and easily employable individuals, many of whom have standing job offers but are waiting to see here, many of whom have already left at the city's detriment. We just want to do our jobs. We want to show up and do our jobs, to make medical decisions without our employees to us what to do, to not share our medical decisions with our employees or with other employees. We are your neighbors. We live or work in the city of Gainesville, and we love Gainesville, and we love Florida. My body, my choice, no one else's business. I will not comply.
We also have Jonathan Sissio here. He's a Lieutenant Tech Rescue Specialist and Paramedic with the Gainesville Fire Rescue, also a member of one of our urban search and rescue task forces, and was deployed down to Surfside a couple months ago when other USAR teams throughout Florida were assisting our South Florida teams in what was a very, very difficult mission. He has 10 children, 5 of his own and 5 foster children, and he's been with Gainesville Fire Rescue for 16 years. He expects to be fired, unfortunately, but he's going to come up here and tell his experience.
Thank you for coming as guidance to this event. I'm Sissio. I'm a Lieutenant Search Specialist and Paramedic for the City of Gainesville. I'm here with my beautiful wife and best friend somewhere, and our 10 children. Like you said, we do have 5 biological children. We adopted 4 siblings that after we fostered for a few years, and we're currently also fostering a little 8-month-old. 16 years and have been able to go on many search and rescue missions. More recently, went to the Bahamas after Dorian. Like the governor said, to where I got to meet him as he came out to support the event. These accomplished next to other dedicated and selfless. We do things that many don't have to, and many of us would just say job, but the commission has been proud and very happy to put us out there as the face of their good works. I would like to take a minute and talk about doing the right thing. Doing the right thing is always do the right thing no matter if it's tough or not. And workers like us and our law enforcement friends and our GRU friends, the right thing for us was to continue to be answering, alleviating pain and suffering, keep our neighborhoods and streets and our friends at GR utilities on, power, gas, and water, that could stay home would be able to do it. But, due to our calling, we were out there serving while they were doing that. And it's great for them, but that was not us. The right thing for us was to continue to serve through all this unknown and new virus. That was back when we were being told that the death rate was exponentially higher than it actually is. So through all that time, we served on. Now we're being told that we don't know what's right. And we cannot make health choices. We have 4 that sat behind a Zoom screen, as he mentioned earlier, and now they're telling us about it. We know. We've been there. We've been out there. Hundreds of us have had COVID and recovered, gaining natural antibodies. Many of us have immunity by exposure, and many still have gotten the vaccine. We are not anti-vaccine. We are anti-mandate. Due to our unique home situation and our large crew of kiddos, we outgrew our house we've been in. So my son and I, along with the help from some firefighter brothers, we just built a new house. And we were moving into it the very same week that we found out that a lot of us would get fired for not taking the vaccine. And it's just an interesting time. There is, we feel betrayed and used. While we were heroes and selfless not long ago, now we're selfish. And they'll let us go. There's an absurd amount of virtue signaling going on that we be careful about. We need to stand up and fight. There is science and studies that are either ignored or twisted to fit their agenda. Already been mentioned, those that stand up and cry, my body, my choice, where are they at now? They're silent. Do not be fooled. Do not be or extreme for wanting to make your own health choices. And you're not. Let's stand for what. Thank you.
Jonathan, I think he points out that these mandates are not about science. If it was about science, you would recognize the infection-conferred immunity that people like Jonathan has. Israel did a study. They said it was much, much more protective than the vaccine. Same thing. Always shows. And so that's. So I don't see at all this if using science this natural immunity. They ignore it and has protection to take government power control much more than it is the underlying medical. I think why if you do not. Okay, we have Maria. Her husband has worked in vaccine mandate and could lose all their income and their ability to support their 2 children. Both her and her husband have had COVID and have natural immunity, and so she's going to come up and share what she's been through dealing with these mandates.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you, Governor DeSantis, for allowing me this opportunity. Thank you all that are here today willing to listen and show your support. I've been employed with Orange County Fire Rescue as a firefighter-paramedic for 17 years, and is also a firefighter and has with Orange County. I have always wanted to serve people and be of help to others, which is what career. Found out the mandatory union and union employees deadline or employee. The biggest question is freedom to choose what we no longer spent weeks trying to will suffer truly hit us. But we will lose our jobs and our livelihood. My husband and I have been productive in society since we began working as teenagers. We want to keep our jobs. We want to remain. We want to serve. We want to continue children or close government. No one should be between their beliefs that they ever worked for in life to survive. If the mandate is to help employees and protect them, then why are we being forced into a far worse than contracting and recovering COVID? My husband and I both had COVID. Well, we recovered, we got back to work. Also try to consider the cost associated with a workforce that has years and decades. It would take years to replace. Who will be left to answer 911 calls and respond to the sick and the injured? Losing potential firefighters will directly affect the citizens and our community. But this mandate won't be just the unvaccinated that are affected. Soon the vaccinated require boosters and mandates visited every 3 to 6 months. Employees will possibly be faced with termination. Once we, where will it end? This is why we this mandate and will fight for our last. And I quote, "The goal that government has sometimes individuals, even from themselves." Of 17 years, treating taking life without responsibility, yet this is that I must be to protect me from myself. Someone in this, I would hope you would all have faith in knowing that fire or unvaccinated. Bill said, we would put our skill sets and years of knowledge to everything possible to save your life. If we can make those decisions, then I know how to protect ourselves and those that we serve. It's right for our body. Risk versus the benefits for our reach of government that is not us but employees across the state of Florida, U.S.
You know, Maria also made a point about these mandates, because you don't know what, came out and said we're going to do boosters big day, but it had not been by the FDA. Actually, the officials resigned. This was can you imagine if underlying data, I mean, the corporate press meltdown. I mean, it would be wall-to-wall hysteria about him perverting science and not following experts. And look, I have no knowledge of any data about these booster shots, but it could be in a situation where, 6 months from now, if Fauci one, you just have to do it. Are they going to fire you then at that point? Are they going to fire you a year from now? And so it gets into all these really things. I also think you got to look to see doing here in terms of the Biden vaccine. This is not constitutional. Every politician for 9 months said they don't have to do this, that shouldn't be mandated, and that includes said that in the past. They've always said that. So there is a mandate for private employees, but also for all federal employees. But the post office, so how does science to me behind? Well, I don't think the post office do a mandate and you exempt a and you exempt the Congress. You know, when I actually proposed the 28th Amendment, make any law that doesn't apply. There's somebody, again, I don't think, don't get me wrong, but Biden thinks that's fine. A nurse for a you're going to get fired unless you follow. How does that make sense at all? It does. This is all political, using government, and think about what about the hot staff to get back. They're going to fire all these this time already likely had COVID and who have natural immunity. So up with the health system, you start talking about all the critical, you start talking 15% of the forces, that is going to have food, a lot of these people that just do or whatnot, truckers have a on people's jobs, fascinated and just living their lives. Absolutely see this right. So we are back, and we're working through different things that we're going to be doing in the state of Florida. But suffice it, no lose their job over. We have to protect. Understand what's on. They're raising families. They have bills. Thing you should want to do is potentially who've been faithfully and working in a variety of capacities out this whole time. These mandates, and they will be very destructive. We're on in terms of any of the being applied involving the private. We're going to provide protections for people. People should not of losing help. File a brief. But offer some words as well.
What you believe is families and their ability living to support your. This is not about whether or not we consider the vaccine, and I think that eloquently many of our have said, please. The this is a how much do our that we thought they had a lot more just they did not, and now we're is directly call would first take they're rushing in these folks and the same their own a short folks going around many reasons does not help if are fired affect the staff communities today. DeSantis has been touring the state saying, I've do something to help these staffing shortages. We're going to enforcement into Florida. We're going to educating them and have the best trained law in the nation. We're going to recruit and all that this governor is working. I'm here today to tell you, your Attorney General up for the for us own decisions. And Mr. Half of you and over the 200 employees of Gainesville that have filed suit, you know on the those arguments and defending.
Okay, we also have our chief officer with us here, Jimmy.
First off, Marshal of the state, so I get to and our first off, let's do this. If you're a first, more importantly, a responder, raise your hands. Folks that work on Valentine's anniversaries, on birthdays, on Christmas, Thanksgiving, you name it, 24/7, 3. She said, someone has died. Recognizes this in an effort to bring $1,000 home. Believe me, from the bottom of my heart, Governor DeSantis, thank you so much for your. Now, Governor DeSantis couldn't have done that if it wasn't for these little group of legislators behind him. So, anyway, Chuck Brandon, Chuck Clemens, thank you.